And we are back, round 3 of 5 at Game Haven here in Riverside, Ohio, where you get more for your games.
That's right.
We are Dayton Magic Club, your source for local news, opinion, rumors, live coverage of local events, you name it. I'm Ryan Johnsen. This is Jacob Ross doing
Hello.
commentary here for you tonight. So what we have here is two players that have not been on camera yet since we've been doing coverage here. I don't believe.
As far as I know. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. We have the word from our table spotter in white.
Okay.
We don't have his exact list in front of us, so there's certainly a lot of options. You could go the little more aggro route, like we saw last round.
Yeah, from Eric Shiro.
With the 8 1-drops.
Yeah.
Sword of the Pantheon, which is very good, and Drive Militant, which isn't as good as it used to be with Snapcaster and things leaving the format, but still a pretty powerful.
Still a Savannah land.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Or you could go a little bigger. You could go have gods and like Tristanis and like all kinds of mid-rangey kind of action. So we don't know exactly what he's playing. There's a lot of good cards in green-white. I think it's a pretty deep card pool, pretty well positioned right now. We don't know what Robert's playing.
No, we're not sure. Yeah.
Our table spotter, who is our content manager, Joe Plank, doing a good job as always, keeping the action coming and filling in our questions as we have them. Thinks that he may have seen a Rakdos Cackler as he was scouting last round. So this could be a repeat of last match. Yeah. Maybe. We'll see.
So it'll be interesting if each player has a variation on the decks before.
Yes, it will.
And we can see, if any of those differences, they get an edge. Or
yeah, absolutely. I think this is, if it is a mono-red or a red-based aggro versus green-white, I think this is one of kind of the defining matchups of this early stage in the format, at least here locally for sure.
Yeah.
Jeff won the die roll, so he'll be playing first. Okay. And that looks like some red cards.
Yeah, it looks like mountains and red dudes. So just leading off the tap Temple Garden.
Yep.
So
no 1-drop. We don't know how many 1-drops he's playing, so it could be a little bit. Yeah, this is definitely
a Legion Loyalist.
An all-in style red. Legion Loyalist means you're probably playing 12 1-drops.
Right.
And you just are trying to just get people dead.
Right. And that's a good place to start with the Legion Loyalist. The Raging Goblin that could.
Mm-hmm. The best Raging Goblin there ever was. Mutavault, good follow-up. Because there's a Firefish Striker here.
Ooh.
That is a young Pyromancer. Okay. So this is a little bit different. This is
I'm actually very excited to see how this will play out. There's a lot of
Celestian Charm is gonna hump that Legion Loyalist. It's too bad they didn't have Battalion, because then of course the token could not have blocked.
Right. It'll be interesting to see how the Pyromancer plays out here. There's a lot of options in the 2-drop slot.
Absolutely.
You can't play all of them. There's just too many options, which is a good thing, right?
Absolutely. Red is very deep right now.
So this is nice because we're kind of getting a survey of all those 2-drops right now.
I would assume he doesn't have Gorehouse Chainwalker.
Yeah.
He may still have Firefish Striker.
I would assume that of all of the red and one other color guys, Firefish Striker is probably the best out of all of them.
Of course, when you're playing Young Pyromancer, it means you probably want a fair amount of spells, which means you have to make cuts somewhere. You're not playing 36 creatures like some of these red decks do.
Yeah.
And that is a second Young Pyromancer. So, and then maybe a shock
on the token. Very good.
Yep.
Yeah. So this will generate 2 guys, and Robert will be able to attack without fear.
And there is our table spotter grabbing the tokens there.
Yep.
His assistant is not table side this round.
Say hi to the people.
He's here watching us here in the booth. And that is another charm, right? Another Celestian charm.
No, I think he.
That's 2 Celestian charms.
2.
Yeah, I think he.
He played one to block.
Yeah. So it ambushed the Pyromancer.
Yeah. That's a Dried Militant.
Yep.
So,
looks like he missed a land drop there.
Yeah, and as good as Robert's board position looks, there aren't really any super good attacks.
It's fragile.
It's really awkward, right?
He needs a removal spell.
I just like attacking with the tokens. That seems
sure.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fine. I like. There's a Chandra's Phoenix.
Ooh, that's also
Chandra's Phoenix.
good.
This is that package, right? You have the Young Pyromancer and the Chandra's Phoenix. Both reward you for playing a lot of spells.
Right.
I wonder if he has Perforos, the red god that does the 2 damage every time a creature comes into play.
Yeah,
there's that kind of that combo with the Pyromancer and with the Phoenix too.
Exactly.
So I'm curious if that's found its way into this particular
burn
build.
you, get my Phoenix back, get 2 from the Phoenix, and then attack with the Phoenix.
Right.
That's 6 damage.
And if you have the young Pyromancer out, you get a token for the burn spell too.
However, Jeff responds with a Fiendslayer Paladin,
which, as we've seen, is pretty good. However, from this board state, Robert can plan on getting his damage in with the Phoenix and burn spells and just block forever with all these tokens.
Right.
So we'll see what his draw kind of shapes up to be.
Right.
You know, some of your best plays from this position would be things like Magma Jet. You know, stuff that is a burn spell that can kind of keep the action flowing.
And especially Magma Jet, you can kind of sift through the garbage that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, gonna get in with the Phoenix. No reason not to. It's not gonna block. So.
Not gonna block.
Yeah.
And you know, you need some sort of answer to that Paladin. That is a Frostburn weird? No, it's the other one.
The Elemental.
Yeah, Niv Magus Elemental.
Niv Magus. That reads, whenever you play instant or sorcery, it does something. Because +1/+0, or
Joe, could you confirm for us that is a Niv Magus? Oh, it's one that you can eat spells off the stack.
That one. Okay,
Yep. Thank you, Joe.
All right, very good.
Yeah. So this deck probably plays a lot of spells. That's what we're looking at here. It looks like it's definitely crafted around playing a lot of burn.
Right. I can see this version of Red not playing any sort of Burning Tree Emissary.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
You don't need the nut draw. You're not looking for a nut draw.
It's definitely all creatures that are synergistic with a lot of spells and then just a fistful of burn.
Yeah.
The problem with that strategy is that it's particularly weak against this Paladin. Because Paladin, when you're competing against burn spells, it'll keep you out of burn range.
Yeah, I really like this attack from...
Absolutely. I think it's a great attack. I'm curious.
I'm not sure if... Well, yeah, I think Jeff has to bring with the Fiendslayer Paladin, or else he's not going to make game life off of it.
Yes.
Well, at the same rate, like, if he doesn't do it this way, then...
That's a Skullcrack. That's pretty good.
I believe the Skullcrack should be exiled.
Yes, that's true. Don't know how relevant it is, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That it should be exiled.
Right.
And we're out of Pyromancer tokens.
Red human tokens. So I don't know if we're allowed to point out that Skullcrack should be exiled.
Yeah. I think that, you know, that's just...
Okay, yeah, we'll have to let it fly. So Jeff, even despite having the Fiendslayer Paladin, he's not running away with this game.
Nope.
He still needs one of those powerful follow-ups.
And absolutely, and the thing is here, like, let's say we see an alpha, which we're going to see an alpha here. So, or almost an alpha.
Right.
Now, from here on out, you get low enough, you're in burn range. And we have another Celestia Charm.
Seems fine. Yeah, so they'll produce 2 blockers. And
we'll see.
Celestia Charm should also be exiled.
Oh, he's Robert is hellbent there. Does not have a threaten and burn spell.
Right.
But the issue you run into here is that now, even if you gain the 2 life, from here on out, he can threaten to block down that Fiendslayer Paladin.
Right.
It's not protection from red, so it does have first strike.
Mm-hmm.
But he has enough toughness that he could potentially trade it off the table and win the race from there.
Right. Yeah. If I'm in jet, I'm kind of nervous here because, well, never mind.
No, that's a good one.
I changed my mind about everything.
We were talking about this as a potential card in this deck.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what Robert ropes here.
That is a main deck Tristani.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's a good call. Jeff's mom didn't raise no fool. He's going to bring efficient 1-mana 2-drop creatures and some life gain to hedge against these inevitable mono red decks you're going to see after a rotation.
And Tristani, of course, is a nightmare for the red player. Not only does it gain life, but it has 5 toughness. And
the magical 5.
Yeah, you can't Brimstone Volley it off the table anymore.
Because the Brimstone Volley is not a card.
Yeah.
Can't Busy Immortals it.
Nope. It's minimum 2 burn spells to kill it. And of course, with the Young Pyromancer out, you can say, well, you can burn 2 burn spells on a card like that. But the issue being, of course, that Robert is out of gas. You know, he's living off the top of his deck.
Yeah.
It's not a great position to be in when your opponent has a Fiendslayer Paladin and the Tristani. Yeah. That's a tough spot.
Yeah, it's unfortunate Robert burnt his Skullcrack, but he had no.
That was the time to use it for sure.
And I believe this is the white god.
Is that a Heliod? That looks like a Heliod to me. And Heliod gets to make tokens, which will trigger
the Tristani. Yeah.
Not by a lot, but
by enough.
Every little bit helps. Now he's clawing out of that hole. For a minute there, it looked like Robert might be able to rip a couple burn spells in a row and get the damage in, but that is rapidly getting out of reach here.
Yeah.
Rakdos Cackler, of course, not where you want to be on turn 7.
Right. And at this point, Robert probably knows the game's over.
Yes.
But
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you might as well. I mean, you never know.
It's weird that I keep thinking people are going to be able to attack the gods. They just kind of feel like planeswalkers.
They do feel like planeswalkers, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, does he have devotion? Tristani's double white.
Yes, 2, 3. Oh, yeah.
Yep, he does. Yeah. He is devoted, so that's a big indestructible man.
Yeah. So I can't imagine what kind of spell Robert would have, because he can't get rid of the devotion.
Right. Take 2. Take 4.
Okay. And then a whole bunch of guys die.
Yeah.
So that went well for Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can't blame Robert. He knows he's out of it, probably. I don't actually like staying in the game, because you never know, Jeff might play more cards, and you can have a better idea of what you should sideboard.
Absolutely, I agree.
So it's worth staying in it, just for that reason.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Heliods tonight.
Yeah, this is 6 mana. Come be Elspeth.
Oh, man.
Nope.
Okay.
That's something I've never seen before in my life.
Nope, don't know what that is. Joe, could you possibly clue us in there?
Is that the Hydra? The Mistcutter Hydra.
Yep. Mistcutter Hydra.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It has Pro Blue, so, Yeah, so Jeff taking that game after Tristani got online.
Yep.
Was able to hedge against a fairly aggressive start from Robert.
Absolutely. I would say that Robert's start was good. He ran into triple Celestia Charm early, which kind of stymied his offense and chump or traded with a lot of good creatures.
Yeah.
And he was unable to really get the game ended before Tristani. Main deck Tristani is going to be a tough thing to beat.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Robert's build of red deck ones isn't as all in.
Right. It is a version that I think is more vulnerable to these cards like Tristani's. The life gain in particular, because when your damage is all repeatable damage sources, all efficient creatures, all aggressive creatures, you can fight through the life gain.
Right.
When it's all the life, when 3 life equals a full card in your hand, it's really hard to beat it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what options he has after board. I don't know that there's a good option for Tristani. You may just hope to race it and just put him where he has to tap out to cast on the turn that he dies.
Right. You have to get running skull cracks, and even that's not.
Yeah. Ideal. So you might just have to dodge it or race it. That's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what kind of cards he has access to. Maybe he has a. If you have access to these kind of cards, this is where you want to bring in things like Stormbreath Dragon, or these big or Boros Reckoner, or stuff that if you have them in your board, this would be the time to trade burn spells for big guys.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I'm gonna steal an idea from StarCraft. Okay, and one of the ideas is when someone does a cheesy all-in, and in this case, I'm saying Jeff is the cheesy all-in. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
You're playing a lot of cards that are specifically good against red,
yes,
but not particularly good against anything else, right? So you don't want Tristani against Bruce's deck, which is blue-white control.
Right.
It's not
absolutely.
Gonna do anything, right?
Doesn't do anything.
So one of the best counters to stopping a cheese build is just to kill that person.
Yeah.
Just ignore what they're trying to do, and you want to just go all in and just forget what they're trying to do. Just try to kill them. But Robert's deck isn't really built to do that.
That's true.
He's trying to go take a somewhat longer game with the young Pyromancer. I'm assuming he doesn't have Burning Tree Emissary. He still could.
He still could.
So in this case, if Robert can somehow sideboard into a more aggressive strategy, that's what I would be looking.
Yeah, in the old format, the one that just rotated, when I played a lot of mono red, and if you saw Thragtusk and Tristanis and stuff, that'd be the time that I would want my Thundermaw Hellkites.
Yep.
And my Falconwrath Aristocrats, and just go where they can tap out and play a Thritusk, and then you tap out and play a big hasty flyer, and then you just beat them to death right through that life gain. It's just much better than a burn spell there.
Right.
I don't know what Robert's sideboard plan is, but that's where I'd want to be. If I could pick any sideboard, it'd be full. It'd have some more lands and some Stormbreath Dragons and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
If he's got Firefish Strikers, they're good here.
Right.
If he's got more Skullcracks, if he doesn't have the full set in the main, which he probably does.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things you play in the main. Either it's 4 or 0.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it either.
Yeah, especially he wants more burn spells than usual anyway.
Yes.
So he probably wants like his 16th burn spell.
Right, exactly.
So you have the Shocks, Mammoth Jets, and Thunderstrike, and then his 16th. The best option is probably Skullcrack.
Yeah. I wonder if he has any Chandras.
Oh, the Planeswalker.
Yeah, Pyromancer seems good.
That seems very good, actually.
When you want to get him like from there, like when he was out of gas, and his opponent's like a 10 life, drawing a couple more cards, maybe able to turn that game around.
Right. Yeah.
Removing a blocker, all the modes are good.
Yeah.
In this matchup, so if he does have Chandras, this would be a great matchup where you really want to see him. I think.
I think so. Yeah, especially if your deck is set up to go long anyway.
Yeah, and I think Chandra is good in this deck. The way he's built mono red. When you have to draw enough burn spells to kill your opponent, drawing extra cards is good. When drawing a card equals 3 damage, that's very powerful.
Right. And again, I'm really excited to see this build of red because it's so different from Logan's.
It is, absolutely. Fundamentally different. Logan played... you never saw him target a player with a burn spell.
Right.
Yeah, that's just not what he was doing. It was more like the Sly type build where his burn spells are removal to get his efficient creatures through and get the game over with.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And this green-white is also very different from the green-white deck that we saw initially.
Yeah, exactly.
And time will tell as the format shakes out a little bit, which is the more common or the superior way to go.
Right.
So as of right now, we're seeing a lot of experimentation. It's really exciting. At the start of this format, we've seen 2 of the same matches, green-white versus mono-red, and they're playing completely different cards, completely different styles of deck.
Right.
So that's really interesting to me. And
there's always, like, when the format is new, there's usually multiple versions of one deck.
Right.
Like, we saw it with Jund Aggro.
For sure.
Like, you would either play, like, the Dreg Mangler or Hasty guys, or you play, like, the Cedric Phillips version.
Absolutely. The Unfriendly Skies.
Yeah.
So all just maxing out on the big flyers.
Yeah, and, for a while, no one was really sure which one was better.
Yep. Here we are. Legion Loyalist coming right back at you.
Yeah, it's when the red deck has a 1-drop versus when they don't. The deck plays very different.
Very different. Now, Legion Loyalist is no Goblin Guide,
No,
but
I wish. I mean,
he's not a bad Battalion. If you turn Battalion on with him, it's a very powerful effect.
Oh yeah.
We have no follow-up 2-drop.
Okay, so which I wonder if Robert's just gonna set like a Magma Jet at the end of turn. Nope, just a pass back.
We'll see what he's got going on here. Perhaps a Chandra's Phoenix. Perhaps he just has a handful of burn.
Which would be fine.
Which would be fine.
Yeah.
He's got to be concerned about Celestia Charm. Certainly.
Yeah, that's...
got chewed up by them last time. And no Battalion to prevent that from happening. Yeah. As of yet. Let's see, it's not a Legion Loyalist.
Yeah,
he activates. So he may have a shock.
Yeah, I would be hoping I have a shock.
Okay. Yeah. Or, just, you can't have it every time, right?
Like
he had 3 running Celestia Charms.
JK,
he does have it, okay.
Okay, so, yep. Okay, there's a shock before blockers are declared.
Okay. Reasonable.
Yes.
Now, you'd rather have a young Pyromancer or something to get full value out of that shock?
That's a fine play.
Well, a fine play.
Yeah.
That is a Voice of Resurgence.
Yeah.
Is it? Yes.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Robert, but it'll be interesting to see if he has enough burn to seal the deal.
Yeah, and also Battalion becomes powerful here to give your 2 power guy first strike to beat through that Voice of Resurgence.
Right.
So, we'll see how that goes out. A Chandra's Phoenix would certainly be very good here.
Yeah.
A young Pyromancer and just start aiming burn at the face. There's a lot of options. Got a lot of lines.
Yeah, and this is at the point where if Robert has a 4th turn play for 4 mana, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
So.
And we talked about just think how good Chandra.
There is a burning tree. Very interesting. Okay.
Think how good Chandra would be here. Put it down here, and that thing can't block and just get in.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be pretty powerful.
So he has.
Oh, okay. Cannot do that.
He can't cast that.
Joe, could you perhaps stop the game here and let them know they cannot cast that spell? Doesn't make double red.
Yeah. Okay, so the way I understand this is that Robert now has 2 red and 1 green in his mana pool.
Yes.
Okay.
So using it up.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean,
not what he wanted,
no.
but certainly better than burning off that mana. Magma Jet is a pretty high value card.
And now Robert has 1 red floating. So if he wishes, he could activate that Mutavault and get a swing in. And which he does. Okay, that's that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, for sure. That's a perfectly good line.
Yeah.
It might not be as good as establishing Boros Reckoner there, but
yeah.
I think it's arguable that it might be fine. That Voice Resurgence is a 1/1. That's not doing anybody any good.
Right.
And you've bonus to 12 life now, so you're starting to really put that pressure on now. Obviously there's a nightmare scenario here, and its name is Tristani, but doesn't look like that's happening.
Cast it. Yep. He needs the double light from.
And that's something that we haven't talked about, but mana is worse than it used to be, and Tristani is not a free roll.
So this is the Mistcutter Hydra again. It's just going to act as a 3/3. In this case, it can be countered, has haste and protection from blue.
I apologize. That is my cell phone going off.
Right.
That's terrible.
All right. So Jeff has a 3/3 for 4. Quick, what's a vanilla 3/3 for 4?
Hill Giant, the classic.
Yeah, why didn't I think it? Yeah. Or Cannon Minotaur,
Okay, sure.
He's gonna go through the canyon.
Yeah.
Okay, now
no surprise.
Okay.
Now the Boros Reckoner is really good here.
Yeah.
This being a 3/3 first strike, if had no other abilities, is very relevant. Your opponent's at 12. He's got a 3/3 and a 2/2 blocker.
Okay.
Now we have
Jeff has his double white. If in case he ever gets Tristani. I think if he had it, he would.
I think I'd have paid 2 life and played it for sure.
Yeah. I mean 10.
Now we have some interesting things going on, right? We have Battalion.
Right.
That's really good. We have a lot of mana. We have a lot of options over on the red side of the table.
Yeah, and this is the point when the mono red player, they are okay. There's a shock. It's going to take care of the. I like that.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Seems fine.
Now the question is, do we alpha? No, we're playing a Chandra's Phoenix.
That seems fine as well.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah.
Now the issue is we can't attack with our Boros Reckoner here. We can.
Okay. No.
Oh, fear. Battalion gives it the first strike. Yeah. We just talked about that. Okay, yep, so I think that's the right block here.
Yeah. It's a rough block, though. I mean,
it's not good, but
you like to suck up more damage, but you don't want your guy to die.
Right. This way, it lets you try to block more profitably next turn.
Later on.
You have to craft a line here, right? Yeah. Like, it's a tough board state to be in.
So Jeff has 5. That's a.
And he has a 2/2 flyer and a Boros Reckoner attacking him next turn.
Not to mention a Mutavault that can be
right, exactly. So 5 is tough because 5 of that damage is unblockable. That is a good one.
Okay. So does going to 10.
But do you have, let's see, if he goes to 10, he takes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's dead to any burn spell.
Yeah.
But can you stay back and block?
I don't think so.
Because Boros Reckoner is a real beating there.
Yeah, it'll also be interesting what Jeff has in his hand.
Jeff, yeah.
Okay, so we'll
see.
Robert didn't show us the card. And in a red.
Magma Jet. Okay, so if
so, presumably this is lethal.
So presumably Jeff is dead here.
If Jeff
doesn't have a trick.
So, all right, there's the alpha with the Mutavault.
Yep. Mutavault's off camera at the top there, but he is attacking with a Mutavault in addition to what we can see.
And then the Magma Jet will finish.
Show you the Magma Jet. And then shows two lands in hand. Yeah, flooded out a little bit there at the end.
So we're going to see a game 3.
Game 3?
Have we seen a game 3?
We did. We saw a game 3.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, we saw the non-game. Right. It just exploded everywhere. Yeah.
But that goes to show a couple of things.
Yeah.
We've seen some one-sided games tonight.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly.
That was a game of Magic, absolutely. Right. But Robert was in the driver's seat early,
and the Mistcutter Hydras are still in Jeff's deck. Is that really what you want against a mono red deck?
I don't think it might be the best. It looks like he might be going back to those boards.
Yeah,
maybe he realizes a little underwhelming
especially
there.
The draw.
Yeah.
Do you really want to be spending 4 mana for a 3/3 and that's it?
And in some matchups, when the haste is relevant, I think that it's fine. I think it's a fine card.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in this matchup, where more often than not, by that point, you're defensive.
Right.
The haste isn't going to come down and close out a game, right? You're paying just attacks. Anymore, 4 mana for a 3/3 is not a great rate.
No.
So you are going to. It's not the best blocker in the world, and you're definitely you're not the beatdown in this matchup. We saw that game. Robert took an aggressive start, used his burn effectively, and was just always in the driver's seat.
Yeah,
right? Like Jeff.
Robert uses burn spells very well there.
Yeah, I think. And Jeff just never turned the corner like he did in the first game with his things like Tristani and that the Paladin. He just didn't have those types of cards. So that's what Robert's hoping to see.
Right.
No Fiendslayer Paladin.
You know Robert uses burn spells well because when he won, he barely won.
Yes.
Right? If Jeff got to untap, God knows what could have happened.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So Robert finished him off at like -1 life. When you're playing red, you don't need to get them to -10.
Right.
You're looking just to barely squeeze out a victory.
Yeah, the perfect game as a mono red player. Your opponent's at 0. You have no cards in hand.
Yeah.
That's what that means. You have played. That means you
use all your cards efficiently. Right.
Yeah. Right. Now Dan Paskins used to give out bonus points for having overkill burn in your hand and that kind of thing. But
he's a monster. So, they also played a game called Kill All Elves.
Yes. Haha, dead elf.
Yeah, where you just kill elves.
No 1-drop from Robert here.
Okay, so he might have a Burning Tree Emissary draw.
Whenever I see no 1-drop from a mono red deck, I think they probably have a Burning Tree Emissary draw.
So that should be a trigger as well. Yeah. He gets a trigger, right?
I don't know when the shock was cast.
At the end of
if it was the end of turn, he should have. That might be just a missed trigger.
So yeah, Jeff missed his trigger there. That's okay. Well, it's not okay, but I mean.
No. I mean, it happens. It happens.
Of all the triggers to miss, I mean, it
doesn't come up very often.
Right. Yeah. And it might have been just like a sick bluff by Rogers, like, oh, end of turn, shock that.
What is
that's a nesting courser? No, that's not a nesting courser. It's the gain 3 life guy.
Centaur healer.
Yeah, Centaur healer.
Okay, sure.
And that's obviously very good.
That's fine. Just fine.
Yeah.
Better now than it was.
The 3 toughness, gaining a little bit of a buffer, that's ideal. And here Robert doesn't have any good attacks.
No. What he wants here is a Boros Reckoner. Chandra's Phoenix isn't the worst, or a Fistful of Burn. He's got Young Pyromancer. There's the Phoenix.
Okay, so Robert can start attacking in the air. The clock's not the best clock in the world. Phoenix, actually, Jeff could even think about attacking.
Yeah, Phoenix is not the.
Oh, okay, and that's the 3/3. You get a 3/3 Centaur.
Okay, yeah. Sorcery. Call of the Conclave.
Yep.
Yep. I like that attack. Sure.
Absolutely, yeah.
Phoenix is not the flashiest card in mono red. I like it because in the course of the game, it's going to do 6 damage pretty reliably, which is a good rate on 1 card. And in the mirror, it's very good because the mirrors tend to be grindy. Right. So I like it. But again, it very rarely wins the game on its own.
No, yeah, it's kind of like I don't want to say utility card.
It's a role player.
It's a role play. Yeah, right. It's ooh, okay. Well,
this is an interesting block. Throwing away the Young Pyromancer.
Jeff has a Selesnya Charm. Okay, so yeah, I'm thinking Jeff is extremely happy with how that went.
Yeah, the Young Pyromancer, he might just not have the burn spells to back it up and think that it's time to get that bigger guy off the board while it's still in range.
Right.
If you have a Fistful of Burn, you don't necessarily want to. Okay.
All right, here's a board.
That seems reasonable. See, now you have a pretty decent board state where before I can see the thought process there where that token could actually in the next turn or two become a threat to your Reckoner.
5, yeah. So at first it seemed like that block was not very good.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to work out.
I think it's debatable. You can definitely, but the line, you can see the line. The line is...
It makes sense.
My Boros Reckoner is going to rule this table. This attack is aggressive, but it really says I have a Selesnya Charm.
Yeah, this reeks of Selesnya Charm.
Which is, if you're Robert, you might actually be okay with saying, okay, my Reckoner takes 5.
Right.
And
you could still kill something.
You can still trade there, which isn't exactly what you want to do, but it's not the worst
Right.
situation to be
I
in.
wonder. Yeah, it depends on what Robert wants to do with his 5 damage.
I think probably just kill the token. Sure.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, I probably want to kill the non-token, right?
Yeah, but he does have Tristani, which can populate,
That's true.
and there's no
yeah.
Restoration Angel in the format anymore.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to think if there are any other cards that could potentially blink something, but I don't think there are. So nuking the token makes the most sense there. Actually.
Just because of Tristani.
Right.
In a vacuum.
Exactly.
So let's see where we're at. Cackler not in its best here. We've talked about that. Unleashing is aggressive. It means I'm saying I'm still in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
And of course the Fall of Young Pyromancer, which might also be a reason why he was willing to block.
So now Jeff needs to be a little more cautious with his attacks because Robert's swing back is pretty potent.
Yes. Especially if he has a burn spell.
Right.
A shock.
If Jeff has any sort of life gain, Robert's on a 2-turn clock.
Yes.
So chumping with a young pyromancer.
Yeah, I think if you're on the
not exciting.
He may have a shock.
Okay.
That is what it looks like to me.
Well, if he has a shock, wouldn't he just shock the thing and then use the token to block?
That would be very reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like blocking with it.
No, I think you're right. That would be the better line of play, because you get to keep your own Pyromancer, obviously, as opposed to keeping a token. But the token and the Pyromancer should be in. I agree.
I mean, I think you definitely want to keep your Pyromancer around.
He has shown a willingness to trade those Pyromancers away.
Yeah.
So, he's what's this?
Whoops.
Oh, that's an Advent of the Worm.
Okay.
Which means he may just be. He's dead to a Celestia Charm.
Yeah. Jeff's empty-handed, draws, and it's a.
He's counting his mana. Mistcutter Hydra.
Mistcutter Hydra.
Mistcutter Hydra for the win.
And as I was just talking about, I was like, why would you play Mistcutter Hydra? Oh, because it wins the game.
Oh, because I'm the beatdown deck.
Yeah, I forgot.
Right. No, there's that.
I forgot you had to win the game. That's
So we've seen 2 different variations of red versus 2 different variations of green-white.
Yeah.
And the green-white deck has come out ahead both times.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't necessarily know that that's a pretty small sample size. I'm not saying that the matchup always goes that way, but it's worth pointing out that if you're worried about a hyper-aggressive metagame, one of the ways to consider beating that is just to play huge guys at every point on the curve.
Yeah.
Just go bigger than them at every point, and of course their shiny doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
So green-white might not be a bad positioned deck at the beginning of this format if it's as mono-red as some people think that it might be.
Yeah, I mean, you and I both are definitely, leaning towards mono-red.
Sure, absolutely.
And it just makes sense. Even players who don't traditionally play mono-red in these kind of formats. Yeah. I think it was Reed Duke who won an Open playing mono-red.
Yeah.
It was when the format was new.
Yep.
And he knew. I mean, obviously, Reed Duke knows what's up. And he was like, I'm just going to play mono-red this tournament.
Just win. Just take some games off some people.
It's hard to answer problems when you don't know what the problems are, right? So,
exactly. Yep. I want to be the one asking the questions, not trying to answer them.
And the question usually says, "Are you dead?"
What are you at?
If you're not sure the answer, that's not a good place to be.
Yep. So. All right. Well, we'll come back for round 4 of 5.
Yeah.
Here at Game Haven, once again, we're Ryan,
starting to get real,
and that's Jacob for Dayton Magic Club here at Game Haven, Riverside, Ohio. Thanks for watching and check